everybody.
Madam Chairman, through the chair, Richard, does that 1,600 include the pad, the cost of the pad?
No. I haven't got a bill from him yet.
Okay, so that's for the pad. Any rough estimate on that?
I really don't know, Bill.
Okay. Well, I'd like to move that the trustees approve a figure. And I don't know if Richard, you could give us an estimated figure that we could approve tonight so it can be all done and cleared up within the next 30 days. 3,000?
That's plenty.
Okay, I would move that the board approve payment for the memorial bench for Mark Camara up to $3,000.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Carol.
Thank you. Do you want a roll call vote for that, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, no, we have.
Yes, please, roll call.
Roll call, okay. So to approve $3,000 for, up to $3,000 for the memorial bench.
Correct.
Mahoney,
Yes.
Jan Rabbit,
Yes.
Judy Kelly,
Yes.
Carol Seitz,
Yes.
Mary Hines,
Yes.
Loretta Shuck,
Yes.
William Callahan,
Yes.
Joanne McNamee,
Yes.
Catherine Tifo.
Yes.
If I may,
Nine.
we
I was
have,
just gonna say 9 yeses.
okay, thank you, Brenda. If I may, I'd like to also add that we've received donations from friends of the Kamar family. And Brenda's received them, and I just wanted to set up an account, Kamar Family Memorial account or something, to put those figures in there. And would also like to see a garden planted around there, to be designed and planted. That's not going to happen until the sprinkler system is installed, because there's no sense of planting anything until there's going to be water on a regular basis. So that'll all be done later on. So that's all. Thank you.
Probably next year, Richard, for the garden. I mean, it's so late in the year
Yeah.
now that.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, is everybody okay with that? That would, the bench will up to the 3,000, and then next year we'll talk about doing a lovely garden around the new bench once the sprinkler system is available.
Jan, I think we should do a roll call vote on all the motions, just to comply with the open meeting law.
On all the motions or the votes?
We should have a vote on all of the motions, the motion to pay for the bench and
We did that.
for the
We did
garden.
the vote for the up to 3,000.
What about
The
the
garden?
money?
Do
in
you
the
want to vote
funds?
for the garden too? We can have a separate vote that in the spring,
Yeah.
the spring of 2021, we'll get estimates for a design, 2 or 3 proposals for a garden design, and we'll go from there. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Is there a motion for that? Yeah. Okay, roll call, Brenda?
Okay, this is roll call to
To create a
revisit
bench,
the garden in the spring of 2021 to get estimates for the garden.
Correct.
So Richard Mahoney,
Yeah. Why don't we wait until the springtime and then vote on it?
We're already voting, Richard.
No,
Yeah.
first of all, the rule of order should be, once the motion is made, everybody should have an opportunity to speak to the motion. And I think what Richard was doing, and I was about to do, was also speak to the motion.
Okay.
So before a vote could be called, I think everybody should have an opportunity to speak to the motion.
That's fine. Richard, did you have anything else to say? Or did you just, your comment was to wait until the spring of 21 to take the vote, but we're already voting, so it's kind of late for that.
Go ahead.
Well, we haven't voted yet on the spring issue. We've only voted on the $3,000.
Okay. Bill, do you have any other, Mr. Callahan, any other additional comments?
Well, yeah, I would suggest also that we vote because it may be more elaborate than just a simple spring type of garden. I know we've talked about having the library the students help out. That's something for the spring, and I think it can wait till the spring. having a discussion now about it is fine, but any kind of formal motion or vote for a number of dollars, I think can wait till we're ready to do it.
Does anybody else wish to speak on that? Hearing none, I think that we'll agree with Mr. Mahoney and Mr. Callahan, and we'll hold off doing an estimate for the garden at the present time until better weather in the spring, until we see the finished product for the bench and so forth. That's probably a better idea. We'll have a visual at that point. Okay, so that's it for the bench revote. The next is the committee assignments. It's number 6 on the agenda. I emailed that to everybody this afternoon. If you're not happy with where I placed you, feel free to contact me and we can jostle some things around if necessary. Director's report, I would like to skip over that for now because, oh, you want to do it? You want to do it? Oh, she's going to do it from the phone. Okay, thank you. No, Bonnie is here to do the director's report. I wasn't aware of that. So I would like to give the floor to our director, Bonnie Rolson.
Sure, I'm happy to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Happy to report the library opened on August 3rd, following Governor Baker's announcement that libraries could open at 40% made in July, and I have nothing further to report.
Thank you, Bonnie. The next thing is reports of committee. Archives that was put on the agenda in error, and there is no report. The next committee to report is Building and Grounds. Trustee Callahan, do you have anything for us?
Well, we've talked about a little bit of the buildings ground. We talked about the memorial bench. That was the number 1 issue. We're continuing to build up the security in the building for the safety and security of the people and the facilities. So that's sort of an ongoing thing, and obviously it would be ongoing as we find a need to develop further security measures. But other than that, and we have no report yet on the sprinkler system. That's all we have for buildings and grounds at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Next is finance.
Point of order. Joanne has her hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joanne. Go ahead, Joanne.
I just wanted to know if the panic buttons have been activated.
I don't know.
The panic buttons on the doors,
On the desk.
on the desk.
We had panic buttons installed.
This isn't on the agenda, though. Joanne, we can't address this. It's not on the agenda.
Well, it would fall under the building. It would fall under the
It would?
building.
Okay,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it would fall under the building.
okay.
Is there anybody at the library who could give us an update?
Yes, we will look into it.
We'll ask the assistant director to look into that for us and report back to the board.
I would ask that if we could report back individually before the next meeting. So as soon as we have an answer to that, if we could get back to all the members of the trustees or the board.
Certainly. Richard?
I don't know, but were the panic buttons on the circ desk?
We will look into it and get back to you. We'll look into the whole.
Rebecca doesn't know off the top of her head, but she's going to look into everything and it'll be part of her report back to the trustees.
Thank you.
Anything else on building and grounds? Great, thank you. I have finance reports. First, I'll do the performance of Fidelity. During the last 5 months, from March 31st to August 31st, the portfolio reached its low point on March 31st, and the balances have steadily recovered during that time. And as of August 31st, we show an increase of 36.2% from the March 31st numbers. The stock market has been reacting to good news, such as the number of companies undertaking efforts to develop vaccines, government funding for research, optimistic timetable for the availability of a vaccine, an expanded testing and retesting effort, new methods of treating hospitalized patients, less dependence on ventilators, lower hospital admissions, and other countries making progress on combating the virus. As we enter September, and this goes for both portfolios, the market became concerned about the rise, especially in technology stocks that became overvalued. Other than that, September has been good overall, but a little cautious on valuations. The elections are ahead, and that is creating some uncertainty. There is some talk of a market correction before the end of the year. These corrections happen from time to time and tend to reset valuations to a more normal range. So we may be looking at that come October, November time. Company earnings and guidance play an important role on the direction of the market. Interest rates are at all-time lows, which help the market on a consistent basis. All of the Fidelity accounts are performing well. Morgan Stanley. The returns for Morgan Stanley are for the period of January 1st through 9/11. The overall makeup of the portfolio is 54% fixed income, 46% equities, 1% cash. Portfolio had a net return of 2.46% versus the S&P return of 3.35%. This return also reflects the $80,000 annual payment to the city of Woburn that I made on July 23rd, 2020. I made it early, trustees, because I was going to be away on the due date of August 1st. The newly incepted bond portfolio, which is allocated 60% short-term corporate bonds and 40% preferred securities, is up 5.87% since inception in April 2nd. And that's my finance report. I'll be happy to entertain any questions any of the trustees may have. Hearing none, we can move on to fundraising.
Madam Chairman, did we skip legal for a reason?
Oh, I'm very sorry. No, I missed it. Legal. I'm sorry, Judy. Do you have anything to report?
I don't have anything to report right now. We are planning on the agenda a discussion of open meeting law complaints. Other than that, there's nothing else to discuss.
Madam Chairman, may I add? Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I would like to, for the Board of Trustees, consider the following motion, that we engage legal counsel in order to deal with the many issues that we face presently and possibly in the future. And my motion would be for the president and the chairperson of the legal subcommittee to engage legal counsel to serve the Board of Trustees. That would be the motion. On the side motion, I wanted to mention that Solicitor Doucette has done a tremendous job representing us, but I don't want to overburden her with our responsibilities with all the others that she has. And I think it may be time that we consider having our own separate legal counsel to deal with certain issues. So my motion is that the president and the legal chair research and engage legal counsel for the trustees.
I think that's an excellent idea, Bill, and I would second your motion.
Does anybody else wish to speak on the motion? Carol?
I also agree. I think it's very important and an excellent motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak on the motion before a vote? Hearing none. Brenda, would you do a roll call, please?
Roll call for the president and the legal chair to research legal representation, or legal counsel. Richard Mahoney,
I abstain.
Jan Rabbit,
Yes.
Judy Kelly,
Yes,
Carol Seitz,
Yes.
Mary Hines,
Yes.
Loretta Shuck,
Yes.
William Callahan,
Yes.
Joanne McNamee,
Abstain.
Catherine Tifo.
Yeah.
So 2 abstain and 7 yes.
Thank you. And the final item under reports of committee is fundraising, but we just appointed a new chair. I just appointed a new chairperson, Catherine, so I doubt she's got too much to report on.
I have nothing to add.
Okay, Catherine. Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay.
Number 9, we'll move on. It's the discussion of open meeting law complaints. This evening, we will be discussing the three. And the 3 complaints. One was received on 7/12, and it's from Jasmine Parthasathy. I apologize to her if I'm mispronouncing her name. A second complaint was received from Ms. Anderson on 8/26. It's saying that OML complaint that the trustees met with the director. And a second complaint from Ms. Pathathy on 8/26, saying the same thing, that the trustees violated the OML law by meeting with the director. So everybody I know has all these complaints. Has everybody had an opportunity to read them?
Yes.
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 Everybody have, Ellen Cal.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir. Yes, Bill?
if I may begin, I'd like to address the complaint filed by Christine Anderson. The date of the alleged violation was August 26, 2020. I'm not sure the date you received it, but it was relative to, well, I'll speak to what it was relative to. First and foremost, I'm a citizen of Woburn. I'm a patron of the Woburn Public Library. I have been for longer than either of the claimants have been alive. As a patron, I'm entitled to the benefits, privileges, safety, and security, as are all patrons. On the date in question, I arrived at the library. I returned 2 or 3 books, maybe even 4 to the return slot outside. I entered the library at the children's entrance. I signed in as COVID required, and then I proceeded to the 3rd floor. Let me back up a second. Back in, before the library opened, Trustee Mahoney invited the mayor and an unnamed citizen that I don't wish to name at this time to inspect and tour the archives. It was sometime, I believe, in July. The rest of the trustees were not invited to that meeting, so we didn't have the opportunity to visit, inspect, or tour the archives. Subsequent to that, Trustee Mahoney had emailed us about some concerns he had, not specifically, but he had some concerns about the archive. It was then, I think, determined that maybe an inspection by the entire board of trustees of the archives would be appropriate. So on that date, after signing in, I proceeded to the 3rd floor in order to begin the inspection. There were 2 or 3, I'm not sure how many, 2 or 3 other trustee members there, and the archivist was there. And again, in order to perform our due diligence, it was, in my opinion, it was necessary that we have an inspection. I had not been in the archives but once since we opened, so I wanted to make sure that I had a good picture of what was going on. I was invited again to the 3rd floor. We were given an inspection tour. We were given a presentation by Patricia, who I found to be eminently qualified, impeccably credentialed, very enthusiastic, great vision of what the library archive should be, which to me was a marked contrast to what's happened in the past. As I mentioned, the director accompanied us on the tour, and we had an opportunity to speak. We talked about the opening, the ups and downs of the first few weeks of the opening, what the climate of the building was. We had an opportunity to chat with the trustees about the summer, about the Red Sox. As a matter of fact, I can't remember whether it was Judy or who I talked about whether or not she thought Cam Newton would be the answer to Tom Brady. I mean, there was a conversation that I have a tendency to have with everybody. It was about a lot of things and nothing. But anyways, we did have a conversation. We did tour. We did inspect. However, let me emphatically state that there was no collusion. There's no conspiracy. There's no orchestrated anything took place that day. The conspiracy theorists that are out there, you know, the grassy knoll in Dallas, they're conspiracy theorists. I know there's conspiracy that theorists that believe that Elvis is spotted down at the pizza shop on Main Street and Richardson Street. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists around there. There was no collusion. There was no conspiracy. Now, and having said that, I'll also note in a little bit of the civics lessons of those, if you follow the open meeting law and if you read the Attorney General's data on that, you'll find that there was the first exception to that open meeting law allows trustees without notice, without posting or any other reason, to inspect and tour facilities. And that's exactly what we did. So it's an exception to the open meeting law, and therefore no open meeting law was broken. Now, my real major concern, this one has got me. This one has really got me. As a patron, I'm entitled to the benefits, privileges, and security as every patron is. Apparently, I was spied upon by one or more members of the staff. I was tracked from the time I entered to the time I went to the third floor, to the time I searched the archive, to search the stacks, the books, to the time I took out books. Apparently, I was being tracked or spied upon to the point that they listed a specific time that I left there. I can't confirm that time I left there, but apparently they know when I came in, where I went, what I did, and what time have I left. Ms. Anderson then revealed and disclosed that personal information to the public through the open meeting law complaint. Absolutely, absolutely atrocious. What a chilling thought to the adults and the children of Woburn, that their every visit, their every move within the library could be tracked and made public. If they can do it to one, they can do it to everyone. Absolutely, absolutely ridiculous. This is shades of a third world nation. Confidentiality, personal information. Let me state that I have done a little research, and personal information and identification of patrons is most sacred, as specified by the American Library Association, as specified by the New England Library Association, as specified by the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, as specified by the Library Association, by the Minuteman Library Association, and the Woburn Public Library. And may I add, my privacy is guaranteed under General Law, Chapter 76 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's protected by the Massachusetts Fair Information Act, Chapter 66A, and is protected by the Executive Order 504, written in 2008. Those protections were violated by the publishing of that information to the public through the open meeting law. So I'm going to say now, but I will assure you that I will continue my pursuit of this as in any legal manner possible. I will file a formal complaint with the city against Ms. Anderson and any other staff member who was involved in this Natasha and Boris spying expedition of that date. More said to that later. So in your response, Madam Chairman, you can take any of those issues that I brought up and add them to the response to that complaint. It also applies to the complaint by Jasmine, I'm going to call it Jasmine Letharakis. I know how to pronounce the last name because I am very, very familiar with the family. So Jasmine Letharakis, primarily it's the same complaint about some kind of a meeting, some kind of a conspiracy, and releasing the time, date, and what I did while we're in the library. And then that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Bill. Trustee Mahoney?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Bill, you started off your talk.
Oh, the tirade. It was a tirade.
You started out your talk by talking about Richard Mahoney and the mayor going with someone else going to tour the library. Okay, so you released public information of my going to see the library, etc. I went to the library because the library was closed, locked up. People weren't allowed in. And I went in there at the end of May to sign bills and meet Brenda upstairs. And when I went in, I saw the circulation desk gone. And I spent 8 minutes talking at the June 2nd meeting about my dismay, upset, etc., with what had happened to the circulation desk. That being said, I also I also spoke to the mayor about my concern for other items that may have been changed or done, whatever, in the library when the place was locked up.
Point of order,
Yeah, the mayor,
not addressing the OML complaint.
Yeah,
No, he's responding to me. He has a right to
Okay.
respond to me.
I spoke to the mayor a couple of times and he agreed to go with me to go see what had gone on in the library when nobody was there. And I wanted to see the archives, and I went into the archives, and in the vault room, there's old books stored, there's junk stored, etc. This is the room
Richard, was the staff present during, was the administration?
Yes,
staff?
Bonnie
Oh,
was
okay, you
with us.
said there was nobody there, so the admin staff was present in the library, so it
That's
wasn't.
correct. That's correct, Jan.
Okay, thank you, just a clarification.
Bonnie went with us on the tour, and in the vault room, in the archives room, there's foreign materials stored there, which is not safe for the archives that the city of Woburn has been protecting for over 100 years. The history of Woburn, the original books, the original stuff that came from the library in the 1850s. And there's
Those are materials that Tom left there that the new archivist hasn't had a chance to get to, Richard.
No, they're not. No, you're wrong.
That's
So-
point of order,
think so.
Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Callahan.
Trustee Mahoney should be allowed to speak uninterrupted.
I'm sorry.
So, I mean, I went there for specific purposes, say the things. Maybe I should have invited all the trustees to come, but I was concerned because from the time I saw that circ desk broken up, I didn't know what else had happened in the library that the citizens of Woburn worked for years and years and years and paid millions of dollars to set up. I didn't want to see it be destroyed. So that was the reason I was at that library that day in July with the mayor and another person and Bonnie. Thank you.
Okay, Judy, you wanted to respond?
Yes, because I really resent this proposition that there was a conspiracy and that we were planning library that day. I did look at the books. I did go upstairs and I went by the archives room. The door was closed and there were people in there. I assumed it was the archives meeting. We have an archives committee, and that would explain probably the presence of some of the people. I went to talk to our director, and the only other person I spoke with was Mr. Callahan, who was there. We were not there together. We did not arrange to meet. And as for keeping track of when I left and when I came, I did not keep track of the times, but I had no reason to do so. I just had to leave to go home in time to make dinner, that's it. But in no way did any of us conspire with one another to meet at that day or any other days. And there was no way there was a quorum, 5 people in Bonnie's office. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Judy. Does anybody else wish to speak? Carol?
Can I make a motion to have the city solicitor create a response to this open meeting law violation?
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Second,
Is that Judy that seconded?
yes. Trustee
Yes.
Kelly. Does anybody else want to speak on the motion before we vote? Roll call, Brenda, please.
Okay, the motion for the city solicitor to respond to the open meeting violation.
The two of them that occurred on 8/26/20, Brenda.
8/26, two of them. Okay. Thank you. Richard Mahoney,
Abstain.
Jan Rabbit,
Yes?
Judy Kelly,
Yes.
Carol Sides,
Yes.
Mary Hines,
Yes.
Loretta Shuck,
Yes.
William Callahan,
Yes.
Joanne McNamee,
Abstain.
Catherine Tifo.
Yes.
7 yes, 2 abstain.
Thank you, Brenda.
Welcome.
The final open meeting law violation, that was the one on 7/12/20, and I emailed you all the response that the city solicitor sent to us, a memo today regarding the open letter. This one is the open letter, open meeting law complaint regarding a letter to the Minuteman Network. And it's about a page and a half long, the memo. And with your permission, I'd read the last 2 paragraphs, which summarizes everything, what the action that the city solicitor is recommending. My recommendation regarding the action to be taken is twofold. First, the Board of Trustees should take training on the OML, which is offered on a regular basis by the Open Government Division of the Attorney General's Office. As to the public record retention issue, the IT department is working with the library administration to set up cityofwoodland.com email accounts for the trustees. The city system is set up to retain emails and provides a means to access the emails to search for responsive documents which neither I nor the city clerk presently have with respect to private or employer email systems. In closing, I am recommending that the Board of Trustees vote to authorize me to submit a response on its behalf with the Attorney General's office. Would somebody like to make that motion to authorize City Solicitor Ellen Surratt, Ellen Callahan Doucette to submit a response on the library's behalf to this complaint?
I so move.
Thank you, Carol. Does
A second.
anybody want to speak on the motion before we do a roll call?
One thing, Jan,
Yes, Richard?
in that same response from the city solicitor, in the 4th paragraph,
Mhm.
Alan writes that I spoke with the trustee Seitz, who said she sent the letter to each member of the MLN. It is unclear how the decision to send the letter with the names of 6 trustees came about, but such a decision is a deliberation within the meaning of the OML. Further, the decision to send a letter responding to the MLL's criticism of the WPL is a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Trustees and should have been discussed in a public meeting. So that was in fact a violation.
Well, we could ratify Carol's letter. We could do that. Is there a motion to ratify Carol's first letter with the 6 signatures?
This is.
I think maybe discussion,
Excuse
maybe
me?
discussion on the whole topic before we get into any final motions. Madam Chairman, you may want to solicit comments from any member of the board.
Does anybody have
relative
any
to-
comments before we go any further? Bill?
I do. But I want to give everybody else an opportunity to speak. I've
Okay.
been doing too much of it. Well, the first thing, I agree with the letter. There's no question that a response was called for. I will agree that it belonged, first of all, in the hands of the trustees. However, time was in the essence, and we haven't been meeting that frequently during the summer, and I think they jumped the gun a little bit by sending it. However, as I said before, it was needed. I've looked a lot carefully at the issues that, starting with the publication of the letter in the Woburn Chronicle as a news article. And I questioned, and I will have questions for Mr. Hegarty later on about why he published a news article without first getting some type of a statement from the other side, from the library. We received it on a Monday. I think it was in the newspaper on Tuesday. Be that as it may, the Mass Minuteman Library Association's letter gave no data. It gave no baseline measurements of why they were taking their decision. I've had an opportunity to see some correspondence back and forth, and they still haven't. And I'd like to pursue this even further as we get into the fall and request that the library, Minuteman Library Board, or a few members of which, come and meet with us to discuss how they came about their decision, what that decision means, if this super secret probation is still in existence, or whether we off probation or what. We haven't heard a thing from them since. Quite frankly, I think they disgraced themselves a little bit in the manner in which they did this. And by disgracing themselves, they disgraced their local libraries that Ray represents. I'm sure, matter of fact, I'm not sure. So I'm going to ask a question. Did they notify their own trustees that they were interfering in the collective bargaining negotiations in Woburn? Had they notified their trustees in advance that by doing this, they were going to interject themselves into those negotiations? All these questions remain unanswered. And that's why I think it's important that they come out and they speak to us and we clear the air. As far as the letter is concerned, I have to agree with Ellen that it belonged to be voted on before being sent to the board. It was a good letter. I agree with the letter. But I think I would agree with Ellen also that we can always refresh ourselves in the OML, as I've been doing over the last 2 or 3 months, reading and reading and reading. As she mentioned, the IT people will take care of some of the issues on emails and so forth. So I just wanted to make those comments about the issue before we accept any motion to have Solicitor Doucette respond. That's all I have to say about the matter.
Thank you very much, Bill. Carol, you'd like to speak?
Yes, I'd like to support Bill in the fact, I'd like to know why the Minuteman Network wrote the letter. I'd like to know where they got their information. And I think it would be a very good idea to have them attend one of our meetings so we can actually discuss the issue with them.
Thank you, Carol. Does anybody else wish to speak? Okay, hearing none.
Oh, I think Mary would like to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. I didn't see your hand. I apologize.
It's okay. I was just going to agree with that trend that although I agree with Bill that Solicitor Doucette's letter is well taken, and I think will be helpful to us to do further work on open meeting law. I think that's a very helpful suggestion. At the same time, I do think there are issues around how Minuteman came to send us that letter and what prompted them to do that, and why they initially made it a public letter before investigating with us what the issues that they seem to have come up with. So I would agree that this needs further investigation.
Okay. Catherine?
I'd also like to agree and wonder who they spoke to gain information to write that letter. I know there weren't a lot of facts in it, but there were opinions, so it would be nice to know who they talked to as well.
Yeah, I think we all would like to know that. Thank you, Catherine. Does anybody else wish to make any comments? Hearing none, if I can ask the board, would you like me to look into inviting a member of the MBLC to attend our October meeting or November meeting, whenever they are available, or a representative of one or two of them?
It's actually a Minuteman Network, not the MBLC. It's a Minuteman Network.
Minuteman Network, okay. Bill?
Yes, I think it's important, although these Zoom meetings might be interesting, but a face-to-face, I've always felt is more useful. So if we could maybe delay it a month or two until such time as we could meet with them, I like to look people in the eye when I'm talking to them, and not through the screen. So yes, I think we should invite them. We like to resolve the issue. I suspect they would like to resolve the issue also. And a face-to-face might do, but if we can get with them within the next 2 months, that would be good.
Okay, I'll look into it and get back to the board and let them know what I learned. In the meantime, can we vote to accept Ellen Callahan Doucette's memo to the board regarding the open meeting law complaint on the letter to Minuteman Library Network?
I think the motion was made, that was a yes.
Yeah.
Brenda, good luck.
Has the motion been made?
Yeah, the motion was made back by Carol Seitz made the motion, Mary Hines seconded it.
Oh, that's right.
Authorization for Ellen Doucette to respond to the AG's office on the OML violation, correct?
Correct. So all we need is the vote on this then.
Okay. Richard Mahoney? Oh, Richard, you're muted.
Abstain. Can you hear me
Jan
now?
Rabbit?
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Richard. Jan Rabbit?
Yes.
Judy Kelly?
Yes.
Seitz?
Yes.
Mary Hines?
Yes.
Loretta Shuck?
Yes.
William Callahan?
Yes.
Joanne McNamee?
Abstain.
Catherine Tifo?
Yes.
7 yeses, 2 abstain.
Thank you, Catherine. I will also, with the board's permission, ask the city solicitor when the next open meeting law training session is, and get back to the board on that.
I suspect it'll be online.
Okay, but I will find out, I'll find that information out for those that are interested in brushing up on it. Next, we'll go to new business. I don't have any. Does anybody, any trustee have any new business to report? Hearing none?
Not I.
No? Okay. And number 11 is executive session, but I don't think we don't have anything, any reason to meet an executive session to my knowledge, unless someone on the board has something. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
No, we're gonna do a roll call.
Roll
Oh,
call.
I'm sorry, roll call.
Okay, roll call to end meeting
Yes.
at 5:57.
5:52.
Oh, you're right, 5:53, sorry. Richard Mahoney,
Yes.
Jan Rabbit,
Yes.
Judy Kelly,
Yes.
Carol Seitz,
Yes.
Mary Hines,
Yes.
Loretta Shuck,
Yes.
William Callahan,
Yes.
Joanne McNamee,
Yes.
Catherine Tifo.
Yes.
9 yeses. Meeting adjourned at 5:53.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, trustees.